She knocked once, soft, hesitant, like even the sound might give something away. Midnight had already folded the street into quiet. The kind where you could hear your own pulse, or the creak of floorboards answering back. I didn't expect anyone. Certainly not her. When I opened the door, she was standing there wrapped in a loose cardigan that didn't quite match the season. Bare feet, hair still damp from a shower, eyes trying not to meet mine. She didn't need to say anything. The air between us did all the talking. "Sorry," she murmured, arms crossed like she was protecting something invisible. "I thought I saw lights." "They're always on," I said, and realized how that sounded, like I'd been waiting. Maybe I had. Her name was Clara. The woman from next door who always said good morning with that calm smile. The kind that made you wonder what she was thinking underneath it. She worked from home, curtains half drawn, music just loud enough to be felt through the wall. I'd spent too long pretending not to notice. Now she was in my doorway, and the quiet was alive again. Her eyes wandered past me, to the table where my unfinished sketchbook sat open. "You draw?" "Try to." "What do you draw?" "People," I said, then added too quickly. "Not anyone in particular." Her lips curved barely. "I doubt that." There was a flicker then. Not quite a smile, not quite permission. She stepped inside, slow, careful, like someone testing the temperature of water before sinking in. The faint scent of her shampoo, citrus and something softer, followed her. I watched her fingers trail along the back of a chair, stopping where a thin layer of graphite dust caught the light. "You don't sleep much," she said, glancing at the sketchbook again. I could say the same. She looked up, and for the first time didn't look away. Her eyes had that restless focus, like she was trying to see something she shouldn't want to see. "Sometimes," she said quietly, "the night feels too long to be alone in." There was no right answer to that. The silence after carried more weight than anything I could have said. She reached for the mug beside my sketchbook, fingertips brushing the rim. The gesture was small, but it made my throat tighten. "Cold coffee," she noted. "Yeah, you should make fresh." Her voice wasn't teasing. It was somewhere between advice and confession. I moved toward the counter, the sound of running water breaking the stillness. Behind me, I could feel her presence, her attention like a pulse against my back. When I turned, she was studying a half-finished portrait, hers. She didn't say a word, but her hand lifted, almost touching the paper. Then she stopped, her fingers curling back into her palm. "You shouldn't," she started, then shook her head. "Never mind. I didn't mean." "I know." She said it softly, eyes still on the drawing. "But it's strange seeing yourself through someone else's eyes." The kettle whistled. Neither of us moved. Her cardigan slipped slightly off one shoulder, exposing a trace of bare skin. She didn't fix it right away. "I should go," she whispered, though her feet stayed planted. "Yeah," I said, though I didn't step aside. For a long second, the night held its breath. Then came the sound of footsteps in the hall. A door opening somewhere else, breaking the spell. She looked toward the noise, then back at me, her voice almost gone. "Next time," she said, barely audible, "turn off your lights." And just like that, she was gone, leaving the door open, the scent of her shampoo still hanging in the air, and my sketchbook turned to a page I hadn't drawn yet. It was 3 nights before she came back. Not at midnight this time, earlier, just as the sun dipped low and the hallway turned amber. I heard the soft knock again, lighter than before, like a habit she hadn't meant to form. When I opened the door, she smiled, faintly, almost guilty. "You left your mail in my box," she said, holding out a thin envelope. It wasn't mine. I knew it. She knew it too. I stepped aside anyway. "You can come in." Clara hesitated, then crossed the threshold, that same cardigan hanging loose around her shoulders. The place hadn't changed, but it felt smaller with her in it. Air tighter, space measured by how close we stood without meaning to. She set the envelope down, brushing her fingers against the counter. "You live too quietly," she said. "Maybe that's why you noticed," I replied. Her eyes flicked up, a small pause, like she wanted to laugh but couldn't quite let herself. "Don't get clever, you'll ruin it." We talked about nothing for a while. Work, the neighborhood, the sound of rain through the window. But every subject bent toward the same gravity, the space between us that neither wanted to name. She sat at the table, touching the corner of my sketchbook again. "You draw when you can't sleep?" "Mostly when I can't stop thinking." "About what?" I should have lied, but I didn't. "About you." She froze, a second too long to pretend she hadn't heard right. Then she let out a quiet breath and shook her head. "You're too young to mean that." "Maybe," I said. But I do. Her eyes softened, and something in her posture loosened, the practiced calm slipping. She looked tired then, not from age but from holding herself together. I was married once, she said, voice barely above a whisper. 15 years. He left 3 summers ago. I thought I liked being alone, but some nights She trailed off. You don't have to explain, I said. No, she murmured. But maybe I need to. The quiet pressed in again. The rain had picked up, slow, steady, filling every pause we didn't fill ourselves. She stood and walked toward the window, her silhouette outlined against the fading light. I joined her. Too close. Close enough to feel her breath when she turned slightly toward me. Her hand brushed mine, just once, but didn't move away. I shouldn't be here, she said, eyes fixed outside. I know. Neither of us stepped back. The reflection of her face in the glass was unreadable, regret, longing, something in between. Then her fingers tightened, almost imperceptibly, around mine. I forget how this feels, she whispered. What? Being seen. The words hung there, fragile, suspended between confession and apology. Outside, thunder rolled somewhere far off, the kind that promises rain will last all night. And though she didn't look at me again, she didn't let go. The rain hadn't stopped since that night. It clung to the windows, tracing soft rivers through the glass, muting the city into something half asleep. Clara came again, no knock this time. Just the sound of the latch clicking, her voice low from the doorway. You left your lights on again. I know, I said. Her smile flickered, but it didn't reach her eyes. You do that a lot. I guess I'm waiting. For what? I hesitated. You. The silence that followed was too fragile to break. She walked past me, the hem of her coat brushing my arm. A static spark, faint, almost nothing, but it stopped both of us. She turned, close enough for me to smell the faint warmth of coffee on her breath. You shouldn't say things like that. Why not? Because you mean them, she said, soft but sharp. We stood there, suspended, neither moving, both waiting for the other to pretend it didn't matter. Then came the knock. 3 short raps on the door. Clara's breath caught. Her hand flew to my sleeve. Don't. I froze. Hey, you in there? A man's voice. My roommate, Sam. She stepped back fast, her pulse visible at her throat. I mouthed, it's fine, and opened the door just a crack. Sam leaned in, soaked from the rain. You got an umbrella I can borrow? Mine snapped. Yeah, hold on. I grabbed one from the corner. He glanced past me. You talking to someone? The lie came quick. Just on the phone. Right. He took the umbrella, half smiling. Tell your girlfriend I said hi. I didn't answer. When the door shut again, Clara was standing by the window, her reflection blurred by rain. You should have said no one was here, she murmured. I didn't want to erase you. Her shoulders tensed, then slowly eased. You can't keep saying things like that. Maybe I don't want to stop. She turned, eyes searching mine for something to hold on to. You don't understand. People talk. They always talk. I don't care. She gave a small, bitter laugh. You will. For a moment, the sound of rain filled everything between us. She moved toward me, one step then another. Her hand lifted, brushing a drop of water from my cheek, though I hadn't been outside. Her touch lingered longer than it should have. Clara. Don't, she whispered, but her fingers didn't move. The distance between us thinned, breath close, warmth overlapping, time bending into a single heartbeat. Her lips parted just slightly, her gaze flicking down, then up again. And then her phone vibrated. The sharp buzz cut through the moment like glass. She stepped back, fumbling for it. Her ex-husband's name flashed across the screen. The color drained from her face. I should go, she said. You don't have to. Her voice cracked, barely audible. I already stayed too long. But before she reached the door, she turned, eyes shining, voice shaking just enough to betray everything she hadn't said. Tell me not to go, she whispered. I didn't. I just took one step forward, close enough that our shadows merged in the faint light. She didn't move away. The next time she came, she didn't knock. Just the soft click of the door and the faint drag of her coat sleeve against the wall. I looked up from the sketchbook, pencil still hovering in midair. You're late, I said. I wasn't coming. Her voice carried exhaustion, not anger. Then I changed my mind. Rain again. It followed her everywhere lately. Droplets in her hair, the scent of wet wool clinging to her sleeves. She pushed the door shut and leaned back against it, eyes half closed, like she needed the wood to hold her up. What happened? I asked. Nothing, she said too quickly. Everything. She pressed her palms to her face, breathing through her fingers. I stood, but she shook her head. Don't. Don't, she repeated softer. Then her hands fell away, and she looked straight at me. You make it too easy to forget who I'm supposed to be. For a second, neither of us moved. The lamplight flickered, catching the fine sheen of rain still on her cheek. I don't want you to forget, I said. That's the problem. She walked toward me, slow, deliberate steps. The space between us thinned until the air itself seemed to bend. When she stopped, we were close enough that I could see every faint line around her mouth, the tiny tremor in her lower lip. Her fingers rose, barely grazing the collar of my shirt, tracing a line upward until they rested against my throat. You don't know what you're doing, she whispered. Then tell me. Her hand dropped, but she didn't step away. You're 23. I'm 46. People already look at me like I should apologize for breathing too loudly. You think they won't notice this? I don't care who does. She laughed once, low and breathless. You think that now. Maybe I think it because it's you. Something broke in her face, an invisible crack running straight through restraint. She reached up, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead, then caught my wrist halfway, fingers circling it lightly. You shouldn't look at me like that. Like what? Like you see something worth wanting. The silence that followed hummed with everything unsaid. I could hear the rain ticking against the window, the uneven rhythm of both our breaths. She exhaled, trembling. I can't keep standing this close. Then don't stand, I murmured. Her eyes flicked to my mouth, then back up again. She leaned forward an inch, then another, until I could feel the warmth of her breath against my chin. Clara. She stopped, lips a heartbeat away, whispering, Tell me we're not about to ruin everything. I couldn't answer. My hand found hers instead, fingers tangling just enough to make her shiver. Then, a sharp knock. Both of us froze. Her body went rigid, her hand slipped from mine. Another knock, louder this time. A voice from the hall. Clara? You in there? Her eyes widened. She mouthed one word, later, then stepped back into the shadowed corner as I turned toward the door. When I looked back, she was gone. Only the scent of rain and her half-folded coat remained, still warm where she'd dropped it. And on the table, my newest sketch. 2 unfinished outlines, faces inches apart, waiting to see which one would move first. The next morning, the air in the hallway felt wrong, too still, too quiet. I found her coat folded on my doorstep, dry now, the faint scent of her perfume trapped in the fabric. No note, just silence heavy enough to read like a message. I tried not to think about it through the day, but every time I passed her window, the curtains were drawn tighter. That night, as I sat with the sketchbook open, a sound broke through the wall, voices. Hers. And another man's. You can't keep doing this, he said. Her tone was low, strained. You shouldn't even be here. I froze. The walls were thin, every syllable carrying too easily. People talk, Clara, he said. They already saw you coming out of his place last week. She didn't answer right away. Then, softly, It's not what you think. But her voice betrayed her. The kind of tremor that comes from knowing a lie won't hold. My chest tightened. I shouldn't have listened. But I couldn't move. You promised you'd try again, the man said. We can fix this. Fix what? When the door next door finally closed, I sat there in the dark, replaying every word, every silence. The next day she came. No rain this time, no hesitation, just sudden knocking, sharper than usual. I opened the door to find her standing there, hair pulled back, eyes red-rimmed but defiant. You heard, she said. I didn't pretend otherwise. I did. Her shoulders fell. It wasn't supposed to get this far. What was he talking about? My ex-husband, she said. He thinks we're trying again. He saw me leaving here that night, and I didn't correct him. The air between us shifted, heavy, taut, filled with things that couldn't be undone. So, you lied? Yes. Why? She looked at me like I'd just asked her to breathe underwater. Because it's easier than explaining what this is. Easier than admitting I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Her hand brushed her temple, trembling slightly. You think this is simple? You think I don't wake up every morning telling myself to stay away? I stepped closer. Then why don't you? Her breath hitched. She looked up, eyes glistening. Because you make me feel like I'm still allowed to want something. The silence that followed was alive, a heartbeat between us. I could feel her pulse even from a step away, the smallest tremor in her fingers as she tried to steady herself. She took a half step forward, then stopped. If we keep this going, she said, voice cracking, We'll wreck whatever's left of my name. Maybe yours too. I don't care. Yes, you do, she whispered. That's what makes this worse. I reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. I just need to know, I said, if you're going to walk away again. Her lips parted, trembling, caught between truth and fear. Then she leaned in, so close her breath brushed my jaw, and said, "Not tonight." The night felt different from the start. Too still, like the air itself knew something was about to break. She didn't knock this time. She just stood outside, framed by the dull light spilling through the glass. I opened the door before she could raise her hand. Neither of us spoke. Her eyes moved over my face, searching for something, permission, maybe, or the strength to walk away. I wasn't sure which one she wanted more. "I told him," she said finally, voice unsteady, "that there's nothing left to fix. That I'm done pretending." The words should have felt like relief. Instead, they left the room too quiet. I stepped aside, and she came in slowly, like crossing a line she couldn't redraw. The scent of her perfume mingled with the faint smell of rain drifting through the cracked window. She looked around, then at me. "You should hate me for lying." "I tried," I said. Her mouth twitched, half a smile, half something sadder. "And it didn't work." A soft laugh escaped her, then faded. "You make everything sound simple." "It's not." "No," she said. "It never was." She stood a few feet away, arms folded tight, her eyes darting everywhere but at me. The distance between us hummed with everything we'd avoided saying. I took a step closer. She didn't move. Another step, and her breath caught, the smallest sound, but it shattered what was left of restraint. "Clara," I said quietly. Her name seemed to anchor her. She looked up, eyes bright and unsure, and whispered, "Tell me what you want from me." I swallowed hard. "Just honesty." Her shoulders eased, but her hands trembled. "Then here it is," she said. "I want you. And I hate that I do." The words landed like heat. The air thickened. I reached out, brushing my thumb across her wrist. Her skin was cool, but she didn't pull away. The smallest contact felt electric, like the room was holding its breath with us. She stepped forward until her forehead rested against mine. Every exhale mingled. Every heartbeat seemed louder than it should be. "If we do this," she whispered, "there's no going back." "I know." Her fingers slid up to my collar, holding just enough to keep balance. "Say something real," she said. I did. "I don't care how it looks. I just want to stop pretending I don't feel this." She closed her eyes, just once, and when she opened them, the fear was still there, but softer. "You shouldn't make it sound like a promise." "It isn't," I said. "It's a moment. This one." For a heartbeat, she hovered there, so close I could feel the shape of every word she didn't say. Then she let out a long, trembling breath and whispered, "Then let's not waste it." And she leaned in, not desperate, not careful, just finally honest. The world outside faded to nothing. No thunder this time. No interruptions. Only the quiet understanding that whatever came next, neither of us could pretend anymore. Morning came slow. The kind of gray light that slips through the curtains, gentle and forgiving. The city outside was still half asleep, puddles glinting like mirrors, the hum of early buses breaking the quiet. Clara sat by the window wrapped in one of my old shirts, her knees drawn up, a mug of cooling tea in her hands. The light caught in her hair, turning the strands a soft gold. She wasn't smiling, but the tension in her shoulders was gone, replaced by something quieter, steadier. I leaned against the counter, watching her watch the rain. "You're staring," she said without looking at me. "Trying to remember this." She glanced over, eyes soft. "You think it'll fade that fast? I hope it doesn't." She sipped her tea, then set it down, tracing the rim with her finger. "You know this doesn't fix everything." "I know." Her voice was calm, but her hands betrayed her, fingers fidgeting, like she didn't quite trust the piece. "I've spent years making choices based on what people might think," she said. "Neighbors, friends, even people I don't like. And now I'm sitting here wondering when I started living for everyone else." I crossed the room and knelt beside her. "Maybe this is you starting again." Clara smiled faintly. "You always make it sound easy." "It's not easy," I said. "But it feels right." Her eyes searched mine for a long time, then softened. She reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my forehead, the smallest, most natural gesture in the world. "Do you regret it?" she asked. "Do you?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "No, just afraid of how much I don't." We stayed there for a while, the silence comfortable now. Outside, the rain thinned into mist. A bird landed on the ledge and shook out its wings, scattering droplets across the glass. She leaned her head on my shoulder, her breath warm through the fabric of my shirt. My hand found hers, not in hunger this time, but in calm recognition. "People will talk," she murmured. "They always do. Then what do we call this?" I thought for a moment. "Whatever it turns into. I'm not rushing it." Clara tilted her head to look at me. "You really don't sound 23 sometimes." "I age quickly," I said, and she laughed, the real kind, the kind that shakes something loose inside you. The laughter faded, and she touched her forehead to mine. No words, no hesitation, just a quiet understanding passing between us. Outside, the clouds began to thin. Light spilled through, painting her face in soft gold. She looked at me then, not like someone caught in something forbidden, but like someone finally home. And for the first time, neither of us moved away. Did you enjoy the story? What kind of stories would you like to hear next?